Hi. Today I'm going to give you an update on my weight loss journey. This is the beginning of my fifth month on the semaglutide, which is assisting my weight loss. I got on the scale this morning. I was 206.5, and today is June 19th. I started out at 235.1 on February 20th. So far, I've lost 28.6 pounds. And if you equate that, I keep mentioning this, to downward pressure on my hips, my knees, lower extremity joints, and things like that, it is 114.4 pounds of downward pressure that I've lost. Now, last week when I reported, I was 208.7. And today, as I mentioned, it's 206.5. So that's a total weight loss for this week of 2.2 pounds. Hi there, it's John, and it's a pleasure to have you here. If this is your first visit, welcome. And if you're returning, I truly appreciate you coming back. It means a lot. All right, so let me give you what I decided to do is I'm on the fourth titration of the semaglutide, and this is the generic semaglutide. Now, titration means each month you go from one dosage to the next dosage to the next dosage. What I want to cover now is the incremental dosage of semaglutide, brand names like Ozempic, Wegovy, and generics, including compounded versions, depends upon the intended use, whether it's going to be used for type 2 diabetes or weight loss. But the titration schedule typically follows a similar pattern to minimize side effects. Now, I'm just going to read this. This is for weight loss. Step dose 1, 0.25 milligrams once weekly for a duration of 1 to 4 weeks. Step 2, 0.5 milligrams once weekly for weeks 5 through 8. Step 3, 1.0 milligrams once weekly for weeks 9 through 12. Step 4, 1.7 milligrams once weekly for weeks 13 through 16. And step 5 is 2.4 milligrams once weekly for week 17 and onward. Now, it's just to be noted that some physicians or providers adjust more slowly or hold at a lower dose dependent upon the tolerance of the person that they're prescribing it for, especially with compounded versions. So just listen to what your doctor says. Make sure you tell them how your body's reacting to it, how you're feeling during the week. Keep a daily log. Just write it down or keep it on your phone in your notes or whatever, just so you can say, hey, doc, after 6 days, I started feeling hungry again and I started getting the cravings again. And I don't think the dosage that I'm on is sufficient enough to carry me through. So after talking to him, he may describe or she may prescribe going up to the next dosage. And that's the way it works. It's just a kind of like a hit and miss type situation. So I just wanted to include that I can't even say that today. Titration schedule is out there for you so you can understand that. And from what I understand, it's very similar that if you're taking tirepizide, or, that's the generic of Manjaro. So if you're taking that, you're going to have a titration schedule also. And from what I've noted last week, if you get off semaglutide and you want to start with the tirepizide, you have to go through the titration schedule. Man, I'm going to have a hell of a time with that word. Titration schedule right from the beginning again. Even though it's the same type of medication, there's another ingredient in the Manjaro or the tirepizide, and that your body may react a little bit different, towards it. So your physician will put you through the schedule again, starting out with the lowest dose and incrementing it up until he feels or you feel it's necessary to be where you're at, and it does what it's supposed to be doing. All right, so the first 4 weeks, I was on 0.25 milligrams a week for 4 weeks. And then my physician upped it to zero point 0.5 milligrams once weekly for the next month. And then I stayed on the 1 milligram once weekly for actually 2 months. I was on that dosage. And one of those weeks during that 2 months, I couldn't take it because I had cataract surgery, and I couldn't take the semaglutide for a week. That's because they were afraid that the food would stay in my stomach and I could aspirate when I was under even the most mild of anesthetics. So they just didn't want me to take it. And that was fine. Now, I realized last month, I was starting to slow down as far as my weight loss. I was starting to slow down as far as being able to not feel hungry. I was getting cravings again. So I said to my physician, I said, look, I think I need to go up to the next increment. He said, that's fine. He said, start it the following month, which I did last night. Now, I'm on the 1.7 weekly for the next month, and we'll see how it goes if it works on curbing my appetite and getting rid of the cravings. Now, since I lost 2.2 pounds from last week, I still did pretty well. But during the week, I had ups and downs. I was up 2 pounds. I was down at 1.5 pounds. I was up a half a pound. Then I was down a pound and a half. So it really wasn't consistent for the week. And I want to be able to get onto a consistent schedule. So 2.2 pounds since last week and a total of 28.6 pounds in essentially 4 months or 16 or 17 weeks. That's fantastic. And I'm proud of my efforts. And I feel much, much better. And I keep saying that. I feel lighter. My clothes are starting to really fall off of me. So last week, I got into my closet, into those big Ziploc bags, and found some less big clothing, let's put it that way. And I went down 2 sizes, and I'm going to have to hit that bag up again and look for my other pants because that's the one that's really drooping my pants. So again, I feel much better. Now, going up from the 1.0 milligrams to the 1.7 milligrams, that's a pretty big increment. And I wanted to see if I had any adverse effects with my body. And this morning when I got up, the only thing I felt was my mouth was so dry, it felt like it was stuffed with cotton balls. And it's no different than every other report that I've had the day after I give myself the semaglutide injection. Let's put it that way. The next morning, it just feels like I'm walking through the Sahara and I haven't had water for quite a while. But usually it's temporary. It only lasts for a day or two. And I'm already feeling much better, much better on it. So we'll see. I don't think there's going to be other side effects. I think my body is adjusting well to the semaglutide. And last week I mentioned that I may consider going with Tirepizide, yeah, whatever the hell it's called. But I was considering doing that. And I'm going to hold off and see how this month goes. And I just still may lose weight. Now, again, it's proven that with the semaglutide, you could lose up to plus or minus 15% of your weight. However, if you went on the Manjaro, that is the brand name, or better called Tirepizide, that could make it 20%. So I want to see if I stall out before I make the change. And the only reason I'm reluctant to make the change is the semaglutide is $25 a month cheaper. I'm paying my own freight on this. The insurance won't cover it. Uh, and I want to see if it continues working. However, if it stops working or my body gets too adjusted to it, I don't think I'm going to increase it up to 2.4. I'm just going to switch over to Tirepizide. And I've talked to my doctor about this already. That's basically what I wanted to talk about today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate you doing so. If you already have, thank you. I really appreciate you subscribing. and listening to my weekly ramblings. And if you have any comments, please leave comments down below. And I've gotten a lot of good comments and some tips about how to lose weight and things like that. And I appreciate all the comments. And if you like this video, just hit the little notifications bell down below and you'll be notified anytime I put a new video up. And oh yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about. I just had a brain fart, so let me think about it for a second. Make sure you continue eating a lot of protein. Protein is important to the weight loss. And now that I'm feeling better, I had a sinus infection for a couple of weeks, and I was taking an antibiotic and taking a prednisone for something else. I'm off the antibiotic totally now. I'm still on the basic, I guess it's the maintenance dose of prednisone, which basically counteracts the effects of the semaglutide. One raises blood sugar and the other one lowers blood sugar. And the prednisone makes you retain water. Any steroid basically does that, from what I understand. So I'm taking a water pill once a day, and that helps me expel the water, and that's working. But again, I'm in the bathroom instead of an old man going every half hour. I'm going every 15 minutes now, so it's just driving me crazy. All right, well, that's all I have to say for today. I appreciate you listening in. Thank you, and you have a good day. Bye.